Differentiation in teaching and learning. Differentiation is a very significant concept. If you ask a variety of students facing the same test for competence, it's just not fair. Now, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Imagine if you ask the fish to climb a tree like a monkey, can he? Differentiation is not something new. It's something we all do in every lesson. What is differentiation? Anything that accommodates differences in your learner is differentiation, leading them to learn more effectively. What is differentiation? To understand, Conway and Coyle define differentiation as the process by which teachers provide opportunities for learners to achieve their potential working at their own pace through a variety of relevant learning activities. How do I differentiate? Must come to your mind as a teacher. You need to be aware of the different strengths and weaknesses of your students. Once you know it as a teacher, then only you can support your own students to excel. You need to be aware of the different ways in which your students learn and take account of this in planning your teaching processes. Planning your teaching cannot happen in a vacuum. It is purely based on your learners. You should undertake some kind of a subject or subject skill related assessment to know who are your learners. Once you know your learners well, you will be able to build an initial group profile which can be added to. So once you understand every single learner, their strengths and their weaknesses, and have a clear profile, create a supportive environment. Consider the environment in which the teaching takes place. Differentiation works best in the supportive environment. It is very important that based on the difficulties, students support each other. Create a supportive environment. Create an atmosphere which is supportive and non-threatening. This helps students to recognize and value individual differences. Create a supportive environment. Make time to speak to each student individually in order to give feedback and support. Because you, being the leader, must understand that you must give the individual time to your learners to know them the best. To provide a supportive environment, aim and objective should be made very clear. Any activity should be clearly explained. Students should understand what you want them to do and why you want them to do that. Students should be given manageable tasks and clear short-term goals in order to that they achieve them and be successful. It is important to establish some ground rules. This is best done in a discussion with students, like negotiations, rules, all that should be established. Students need to respect and support other students. Equality and diversity, types of bullying, appropriate language, appropriate behavior. Students aware that not everyone works at the same pace. So if one does not know the answer, doesn't matter. Direct questioning, elected spokespeople, limiting answers, mini whiteboards. Explain the types of activity that will be employed. As a ground rule, it is very significant to understand whether pair work, group work, or peer assessment is going to be used. Strategies to be used in order that learners who are absent have an opportunity to catch up. Ways to differentiate. There are different methods of differentiation. Choose the method most appropriate for the activity, for the learning outcome, for the student group. It is very significant, the differentiation by task. You could set slightly different tasks for different students dependent on their different skills, abilities, or the ways of working. You could see the same task but give a variety of context with varying degrees of difficulty. As the difficulty level increases, the children may enjoy according to their own abilities. According to Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence, we know that every student is unique and they have their own unique styles. So tasks should be differentiated accordingly. Differentiation by the extension task or challenge card. Develop a related activity which could be handled to students on completion of work. Develop a range of challenge cards of varying degrees of difficulties to extend the scope of the task or activity. This will keep the children who are gifted and talented quite challenged. So depending upon their area of interest, we should give them the challenge cards and then the advanced activity. Whereas the whole class will be involved doing one task, only the talented ones will be picked up for the further challenge cards, and more intelligent children or the gifted ones would also be given the activities which suit their areas of interest. So the teacher has to plan all this ahead of time, and the teacher must know the children well. Differentiation by questioning. Questions directed to specific students based on their confidence level, based on their self-esteem, to check their understanding or to push students to enable them to explore the subject in more depth. A range of questions should be planned beforehand, that even if a casual question a teacher is asking in a class, she should raise those questions based on the ability. Project or problem-based learning. Allow students to approach a problem in a wide variety of ways. When the children understand that a set problem for the student which allows them to discover for themselves either information, rules, trends, advantages and disadvantages, it actually supports the total process of teaching and learning. And learning outcomes are always better when the teacher understands it. Differentiation by support. We could include learning support assistance, tutor support, the way you might explain things to a student, etc. There are different ways a teacher can support a student. It is primarily the choice of the student who work together. So we put them into smaller groups. It could be a peer matching, or it should be the small or the large groups, depending upon various other factors which teacher understands the best. So differentiation by support is significant. Differentiation by outcome. This refers to the expectations we might have of our students' work. So we as a teacher understand that what is the capacity of my child. One is competent of doing more than another. Expected outcome can be matched to previous performances and the targets which were set, and then a gradual increase. Differentiation by interest. Using students' interest as a motivating factor. Grouping students with similar interest. Organizing tasks themed on students' interest. Making the most of opportunities to allow students to share their skills and knowledge. Differentiation by culture. Take account of the learner's diverse cultural background, especially in a place like Dubai, Sharjah and Ajman. Use images and examples that reflect cultural diversity. Be aware of the importance of culture, traditions and the features in your group. When you understand it, then only you help. Devising activities that tap into diverse perspectives or traditions.